What's up, everyone? This is Evan again with Fifth Third Trading. Today is Thursday, January 7th, 2021. This list will be good for tomorrow and then into next week. I think it's really important to understand that this list and the calls that I make do not have the same time period all the time. Some of these calls I make a few days in advance saying, hey, make sure to watch the whole video. This one's going to take 3 or 4 days. Some I say, hey, tomorrow pre-market you need to buy in. It takes some time. And some of these, like from the early this week, early popping off, and that's just how it goes, right? Sometimes we call a little bit early, folks get in too early or too late. So make sure you guys do your own due diligence while I go over these lists. With that being said, this channel, sorry, that intro's killing me. This channel is made specifically for beginner and intermediate traders. If you're a straight beginner, you're a greenhorn, you're a novice, this is a great place to start. I'll show you some technical analysis. You can go do the fundamentals more in depth, and then you can make some successful trades. What's great is it's also good for intermediate traders. Many of you are very successful with your NIOs, your SNDLs, your workhorse, whatever these big ones are, you'll do really good. But it's really important sometimes to kind of pat your stats and really put your portfolio in some diversification with some mid caps. Was workhorse always a blue cap? No. Was NIO? No. They start off as mid caps, they become blue chips. We get in at the bottom floor, they take off. We got it right at $3, FCEL at $2. NIO at 8, they take off, we just hold on to them for the ride. It's really good stuff. The best part is these trades you can have for a 9 to 5 job. I have a 7 to 3 job. I don't check my portfolio during the day. I can go home and be okay, know that all my stuff, if it was low, it got sold. If it got to my goal, I got taken out of it and got my money and secured some profit. There's no white knuckling, no stress. I wake up every morning and I know I'm gonna be okay. No big red drop downs. I lose maybe 3 or 4% in most on a trade. This is a really good system that we implement here. Again, I've been asked this multiple times. I'm not going to charge anybody for my services during a pandemic. Yes, there will be eventual platinum and premium services that you can apply for, and you can ask me, we can get into that. There's gonna be a Discord chat. I'll do one-on-one meetings, whatever you want me to do. But during the pandemic, I'll answer every question for free. All these videos are for free. I don't have the heart to charge anybody. The amount of messages that I get saying, I'm just a single dad with this sick wife, I need help. I can't do that. Some folks can, and I think that's great that they can have that kind of relationship. I can't do it. Again, the best way to learn is that there's gonna be a 5-second video in between every single stock. I suggest you go in, you pause the video, you go to Thinkorswim, you go to TradingView, whatever you use, do the technicals yourself. I want you to do this. You don't have to. Okay, it's like extra credit, but I need you guys, if you're going to put the supports and resistances, I need you guys to place the trend lines, and then I want you guys to go in and look at any kind of patterns you may see that happen, and then check out any candlestick action. Maybe there's an engulfing bullish, a engulfing bearish, maybe there's a doji you see, check those out. Once you do that, I implement 5 indicators: EMA lines, volume profile, RSI, stochastic, and Vortex. You can use whatever you want to use. After you get done with the price action with all indicators off, go in and then do it with the indicators and check those. If your stuff lines up well with mine, you're on the right track. Yesterday's list we'll look at real quick. It's doing really, really well. Some calls from this week we'll look at. It's all doing really, really good. Before we look at that, I want to show you one more thing. So what you can see to the right of me is all the calls I've made as a trader in the public image. Now, is it done? No. I still got to go through quite a few of these and really plug in the numbers. But as you can see, every single one from November is in. I got to take out the unrealized profit for some of these. What's really cool though is this is every single stock that I've called on the day. And then of course I got to add January to this. But this is every single stock that I've called on the exact date. You can then also go back and check. And if you ever look at any of my calls, which we can look at real quick, you're going to notice these orange vertical lines, like an RRC, there's 3 of them. That's the exact time that I called it and where I would enter and where I did enter into the trades. So when we go through these stocks multiple times, you'll see that matches up with the Excel spreadsheet. This way, as I go through the trades, one, folks who discover me, you can see all my trades and to see that what I'm doing is actually pretty valid. And then 2, if you don't want to catalog it yourself, I'll do it for you. One thing that's a caveat is I'm not going to call the same stock multiple times, which I do sometimes. Like if I were to call CRK on the 10th and I called it on the 12th, I'm not going to put it twice. I don't put stocks within about 10-day time period on this just because then it gets kind of congested. like Funko, I called every single day saying it's going to blow, it's going to blow. So I put the last entry date that I used it. So you'll see the daily averages over here. If you held every stock to where I would have validated out with ATR or trailing stop loss, is what you would have made that day. 30%, 19, 24, 21, 18, 20. And again, some of these are not going to be as big, especially this one over here. It'll probably average like 4 or 5%, maybe like 10 or 15 over here. You know, it just depends. I had some really big winners and some pretty average ones too. But this will be available in the description comment below, just so you guys can look at it. With that being said, let's get in the watch list. And lastly, go Browns! So today was a very green day. So on really good days, then my watch list absolutely obliterates it. You can look above me, above my classy named poop list. That's my favorite. You can just see all the stocks that I watch. These are just absolutely smashing across the board. Just a lot of green and very little red. So I have to go fishing for days like these where I do really good work on that. And there's some things like ARCT, like that's an anomaly. I've never seen a stock crash right into support areas to just go right back up. That's insane, especially because it's a pharmaceutical play. Plug obviously did well. CNET obviously did well. ALDX obviously did very well. AQB we called. FUV we called. VIR we called. B I didn't call, but I wanted to. In hindsight, that was a no-no. And I we called it 40. I mean, surf. We called it. I mean, we called this what? Now we're up 15%. Docu we called the other day. Good. KNDI we called. Good. OPTT we called. Good. FLGT. Good. CGen we still keep calling back and forth. You should know that one by now. Good. I mean, Bill we called today. Good. So I mean, like, you know, like, ooh, 666. So like, I have that list I'll put in here, but like, your boy's hitting some dingers, my boy. We should really consider subscribing. So today's first stock, after my slight brag, was AUPH. We've talked about this pharmaceutical company before, and again, as I explained, the horizontal or vertical orange lines are where we bought. We called it here, ran up a good 12%. That's awesome. Do I think it has that capabilities again? Sure, but again, we're talking holding for almost 18 days, but that's a percent a day on average. That's really good, and we're in the area to buy. It's still technically downtrending until it breaks above these candles, but again, if you want to wait that long, you're going to miss almost half the move, so that's why I'm a little more anxious to get in. Just a great deal, and I had some folks asking me about stop losses and such. I have a plan for that to implement it in the videos and make it just as quick as the other things. So give me a few days to map that out for you. But there's a very clear area of cutting it if it does die. ATO is a good example of how you use these areas, and when it held below it, you know, you would have cut it. You know, it's holding it really hard, you would have cut it. So maybe it'll come back, but like ATO, if this area doesn't hold, you just cut it and you lose 3 or 4%. Let's check the indicators. So they look good, and again, the EMA lines it respects, but again, it's been below both of them, so it's going to be a uphill battle to break them, and you can tell it really respects the 50, all its action right here, and the 200, all its action right here. It respects them, right? Obvious. 40 RSI, that's a good price, and again, it would be lower, but again, it had a green candle today, so it was just at 35, and then it showed some life, so that's really good. The stochastics surprisingly high, and I think that's just because you are from like over here, green, you know, it showed life here, green, so that's a whole movement up right there, right? That's a whole movement up. So I assume it is you know, fall back down a little bit more, back down to here, and make a bigger move. Vortex can't get much lower, and again, we like to buy into Vortex when it's a deal and ride the whole wave up. So everything looks good for reversal in this area, and again, I think conservatively, we're talking 5, 10, 15% over the long run if you hold this for about 3 weeks. So a good look, AUPH needs to be on your watch list. We called Doc yesterday, and I could spend a lot of time on it. I just wanted to bring it back and rehash that it is in a spot to buy. It did drop down, you know, showed some life, and now it's showing life up here in this green candle. And that's a pretty high volume candle for what we're looking for. So that's a good sign. It's just a really good deal. I talked about it the other day. I'm not going to even do the indicators, honestly. But again, if it does show life, easy, 9, 10, at worst 8. Hopefully you're going to make a good 15% off this one. It's a really good looking stock. DOC needs to be looked at. Next is GIS. This is General Mills. We talked about this earlier. We said over here, hey, let it get into the channel. It did wick down and shot right back up for a good 4% gain. It came down here. It shot up for another good 3% gain. This is a great beginner stock, right? No one's going to be upset or frustrated. No one's going to be scared the whole time, right? This is a good area of value. You could even argue that this area right here, anywhere here and to the right, this whole area is going to be an area of support regardless of how the lower highs. So you buy in, you hold for a few days, make a few percent. If you're a beginner, this is a great one to hold on to and teach yourself how to hold through some red, hold through some green, and then cut at the right time. Let's check the indicators. They look good. Again, it's below both EMA lines. It respects the 200 a lot. It needs to break that to show really good gains. It does reverse around this area, around 33. Right now it's at 35. Stochastic can't get too much lower. That's good. And the Vortex, again, just was green, so it's kind of now shooting down. And it was pretty lower volume. So again, the Vortex could get lower, but again, this area is an area for reversals. And again, it doesn't really get too high on the red side. So it looks really good. GIS will eventually turn around. The real question is when, and hopefully when it does, we can easily see upwards of $66. But again, that's not my intent. It's to be a really good beginner stock to hold and teach yourself and to make 4 or 5%. Next is ILPT, Industrial Logistics, PPTs, TRCOM, of BenInt USD 0.01. What a name. So you can see in the really good ascending triangle over here, broke out, kept going, came back down to value, broke it, came down. So is this like a pure trend line? No, but you can easily see areas where it does in fact stop. And again, where it's sitting at right now, I thought I would just draw this right here. You can see how much price action stops in that area. I mean, it's perfectly sitting there. That's convergence in theory. In action, we like to see it. It came down and now it's coming back up. You could easily see 4 or 5% in the next day or two. If it really does keep trending, 8 or 9 really easy. Again, a very low risk, high reward stock, right? If it dies here, you cut it, maybe $22. And again, I'll do a whole different program for y'all with ADTR soon. you're gonna $22 is 2%. You can make 5 or 6 or 8. That's a 2 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1 kind of play. So it's funny. So it's looking really good for a setup. I like it a lot. Let's check the indicators. And it's looking pretty good. It was riding the 50, bounce, 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 bounce. It broke it. So the 200 may be where it's coming down to, or the 200 may keep rising up to it. 42 is a fair price. Stochastic can't get too much lower. And again, you could consider this area divergence, but again, it's so low, it doesn't really matter. And the Vortex can't get too much lower. And again, it did when it really died, but when we're looking at just like normal dips, it gets to about 40, 0.697. So I like that a lot. But it's a good area for a reversal. It's definitely not a channel play. It keeps getting higher, just riding up and down up this line. And again, it's a good long-term hold. If this keeps continuing, you may make some good money in the long run. But ILPT is a great pickup. Next is IRT. We played it over here plenty, and now we're kind of moving over here. This is a really nice looking channel / triangle play. Again, we have lower highs. Now they don't line up perfectly, so I'm not too concerned about that. This definitely is a resistance area though at 1356, so be aware of that. I thought it was ascending, and again, it still technically is. It really only breaks a tiny bit, but there are higher lows, right? Higher low, higher low, higher low, and higher low. So that's a really good sign of strength as well. Right now we're looking at easily, at least 2.6% if it doesn't do what I want it to do. A full move will get you about 6.9% or 7% to be more mature about it, which is really good. And again, it's getting higher lows. It's testing these resistance areas. It has bullish tendencies. If it breaks out higher, it's going to really make some really good moves. Out of curiosity, yeah, I mean, you could see that lining up. That's pretty ironic though. Old channel, resistance, resistance, resistance. Left. Yep. You can see a lot of that action actually kind of lines up pretty well on purpose. Let's check the indicators. So it looks pretty good. It likes to dip down, but also respects the 200 highly. And again, it's flirting with the 50. Looks like the 50 is like the center point, and it's kind of doing back and forth, which is pretty cool. And again, if it keeps going up higher here, the 200 will get higher, and that's a good sign of strength. 47 is a fair price. It's consolidating. You know, it's going higher. You have your low here and your high here. So being in the middle makes sense. You know, Stochastic's in the middle, and Vortex is still lower, but again, it was just low and kind of reversed up. So they look pretty good. I wouldn't say they're great, but again, being so high above old price action and above the volume line, it makes sense why this would be a fair price call and not like a lower calls. But again, good area of support, and I like it a lot. Next is KO Coca-Cola, and again, there's some fundamental news. I keep track of these things. It downgrades the Coke to neutral after concerns of a tax battle. God forbid, you know, poor Coke. So there's two trend lines. One of them, which is the, you know, bottom to here, it lines up pretty well. But again, it's only two lines. So 2 is just any lines can connect. 3 makes it a pattern. Now again, it did show some life here, but again, it dropped off. Life dropped off. Life dropped off. So I wouldn't really consider it out of this woods yet until it breaks above that stark, just crazy downtrend. Then again, this isn't gonna last forever. But again, folks are afraid of the tax sell-off, so they're all like, oh geez, and they're all scared. So they're selling it off pretty hard. This is a good long-term investment. Then again, you have very clear areas of resistance and support. This is definitely one right about here, you know. So you got to plan accordingly for that. But also it's sitting at one right here. You know, you can say it's a little bit lower, but again, recent price action says probably closer to here. So we'll just do one there. So that's more recent price action. You want to make channels with 100% success area. And so again, it tapped here. And, you know, it may jump up, you know, to $3, 3%. Will it? Maybe. But again, it's in a really good channel up. It's at the bottom. Now there is a slight chance that it's going to follow this trend line, and it's going to kind of come down a little bit farther to $49, and that's only $1 away. So that's going to probably be your risk is, you know, 2.17 if it breaks that, you know, 3% or so. But again, if it makes a full recovery and move back up over a few weeks here, you know, 10, 11%. But again, it's a really nice chill stock. But again, you could also see it only has really big red ones after big green ones. So like it has a run up and it drops off. Run up, then this is a huge drop off. So historically speaking, it goes up and consolidates. You know, big sell off. It has a big rebound. So the price action says it may rebound soon, but with the tax news, we'll see. But it's a good look. Let's check the indicators. They look good. So like we're looking at the EMA lines, both it respects 200 a lot, and it's far away. So it's going to be a resistance later on, but not right now. Oversold, overbought, oversold. Close to it, oversold, overbought. So it has that comeback king pattern for some folks like of RSI working for you. And it seems to work out pretty well every time it does go oversold, so that's a good look. Stochastic hasn't gotten this much lower at this point. That's good. Vortex haven't gotten much lower. So again, it should reverse soon, and it's Coke. It's a really big company. I can't see it not reversing somewhere, but given the historical data, it looks like it's going to reverse soon, and if it does, hopefully it's a big one. We called KREF, K-R-E-F, right here on Monday. Said, hey, this is a good place for a reversal. And then it popped up like 6% the next day, which is pretty tight. And here we are again. It's getting close. Now, why am I calling it? A lot of stocks make their biggest moves after the first pullback. And so, like, I even said over here, it has pullbacks. So it looks like it bumped up. It's pulling back. But again, it dropped down here, and it's already up another 1.38 from its bottom. So do I think it may touch the channel tomorrow? Maybe. And, you know, we look over here, this price action, right? It's very similar to what's going on over here. But as you can see, that pullback and then kerchoo, like Lightning McQueen. So I think it's a good look. And again, we're talking 5-6%. Nothing too big. But again, this is a historically large resistance. It has shown higher lows across the board this whole move. Eventually, it will break above 1866. What a good year. No, but once it breaks above, actually, yeah, it is a good year. Because slavery sucks balls. So it breaks above this and goes long. It'll be a really, really good look. Let's check the indicator. So again, it was oversold, big move. It broke the 200. That's what's retesting. Broke above it. 50 said, I don't think so, son. And now it's between the two of them. Whichever way it goes, it's going to be pretty drastic, I bet. RSI is fair price, it's in the middle. Stochastic again is halfway up, it has plenty of room to run. And again, historically does make reversals around this area. As you can see, look across the board, a lot of reversals and stops happen around this area. And the Vortex couldn't have gone much lower before. It blipped up and now it's still kind of down here. We have plenty of room to run. So I think KREF, if it makes a good recovery tomorrow, really shows some life. Easy 5%. Maybe we get a move like this one up to $19. That's a good return for you. But again, KREF is a great setup. Next is MDC Holdings. This is a great setup. And again, I'll make this our patented golden color. Now, I didn't catch this move. It's already 8% away. So again, if you're really into confirmation, this is probably your kind of play. Now again, there's an obvious resistance right here, and that is easily 3.7% away. So you have more risk. It's a bigger risk versus reward game than I usually like to play. But again, you also have a support area right here. So I have a hunchy hunch that it's made this move. As you can see, it made that move and died, and then came back in and tested it and kept going up and up. So it looks like over here it came up and it died. So I'd be a little bit precocious, depending on your mood. But I would give it just a little bit of time to really show itself. And again, this is an ascending triangle across the board here. If it breaks up here and goes bananas, you may miss it. I think it'd be smart also to just have a trailing stop loss around 47, 46.99. Anywhere below here, if the candle breaks this candle, it's probably a dead move, and I let it go. But again, great setup. MDC, if you don't want to play it tomorrow, set an alert anywhere in here, and if it comes back down, you buy back in and go long. It's a good setup. Let's check the indicators. It just broke above the 200. It likes to break it a little bit, looks like. Break and come back. It held right there. And again, it bounces off the 50 pretty well. That's good. It was just oversold. First time it happened in a while. And when it got oversold, I made the money. It took a minute. So it does have a bowl-shaped kind of reversal. Oh, dang it. I went like 20 minutes without yawning. Damn. Stochastic has room to run, but again, I think it's going to pull back eventually. Vortex couldn't have gotten much lower, and now it's has plenty of room to run. A lot of red volume that's going to come back down. So plenty of room for a good run. Plenty of room for it also to drop, but I think MDC is a great pickup for the next few days. Next is STAG, kind of like how I went to prom. So obviously it's a descending triangle, which again isn't ideal, but again at the same time, you have plenty of room to abuse it. This is a buy-in area that's showing some life. Realistically, I'd like to see it break above these higher low or these lower highs here. This is what I want to see broken. It might take some time, but again, it's only a 2% push to break it. And, it's a good chance tomorrow to kind of dip down maybe to 29.34, possibly get down to the 28 and some change range. But again, it's a really good value. Clear stop loss action can be held here. Clear channel play. If it goes where I want it to go, easily going to be 6%. But again, if it shows some really good life with how the market's been, close to 9, maybe 13%. So it's a really good setup. We bought STAG over here. Again, I got to do more charting, get my journal caught up. But this was a good, easy 7%, 8% play. So it was really easy. Let's check the indicators. So it looks like it wants to break above the EMA lines. And once it breaks the 50, it makes really good, nice moves. All right, it broke the 50 and took off a little bit. It just comes down to how much volume it's going to get, right? And how much it's going to be recognized on scanners. RSI oversold, made some money. Good sign. It's also down here. We'll probably make some money. Stochastic has some room to drop a tad bit farther. That makes sense. But again, Vortex hasn't been lower, and it looks way overextended. So that's a good sign for it to reverse somewhere here soon. And again, 4 or 5% may not be a lot, but again, if you make 10% 8 times and flip it, you give 100% returns. So I think making 5, 7, 10%, no one's ever gone broke securing profits. So it's a good look. Last and not least, but again, probably the least, not the least profitable, but the most call when I've called a bunch, is UMH. We called it over here, said, hey, it's a good support area. And you would have ran up and made almost 20%, which is pretty lit. What's good about it is it's very, very telling. It's a great area of value. We called it earlier. I said, this is a good area of value, and you would have gotten about 4%. and then you would have been stop lossed out, and here we are again to make some more money. Now, this is an insane triangle. It had a breakout. It tested it. It died. Let's see what it could do. So, speaking of that, easily going to make 5, 6, 7%. If it breaks above here, that 7%, 6, 8, 9, damn, she's fine from the window to the walls. If it goes up higher to 14%, that's great. But again, it may be a good long-term hold. It just keeps going up and making really good moves. It respects these support areas a lot. UMH is a great setup. Let's check the indicators. Recently almost oversold. Again, it's near oversold. It's right in the 200 EMA line. It's above it again. And again, if it breaks it for a day or two, don't freak out. The stochastic could be a little bit lower. These lines, this reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh's hair. It's a great show. It could be a little bit lower, but again, it was just lower, and so that move's making its way up. Plenty of room to run. So UMH, great setup, good indicators. I like it a lot. And there you go. That's 10 solid plays you can play tomorrow. Again, it was a very green day for me. I had like 5 stocks that I've called out in the last month go for like 30%. So that can be hard for me sometimes to find more value plays for you. So I think I found 10 that were called recently, and then a few that are brand new. Given the market conditions, I'd always go long. I think it's looking really good. There'll be some pullbacks, right? It's a really vigorously green day, so to see some red days soon may not be a bad idea to kind of wait, but I would never be scared in this kind of market to pull a trigger. So looking really good. Check out the volume profile video I made today. It's going to be right up here. I would definitely check that out for sure. With that being said, have a good rest of your day. We'll see you guys tomorrow for one more watch list. Actually, no. It's Thursday. Whoa. Tomorrow I'm off. I'll see you guys on Sunday the 10th for our next watch list. Have a good rest of your day. I appreciate you.